Hey everyone, Rich Urban here. Today we're going to talk about locating the owners of vacant, boarded up houses. They can be great deals for quick turnaround flips. You can basically find a dozen houses in a declining neighborhood, contact the owners, give them a call, and a pretty good portion of the time the people will be begging you to take their junk properties off their hands as soon as they find out that you're willing to give them cash for something that they thought was absolutely worthless and they couldn't sell. You're talking about someone that cares so little about the property that they just left it to decay or, boarded it up, and who knows, basically it's a liability for them. In these times of the computer and the internet, it's a really rare occasion when someone can't be tracked down. Every homeowner leaves a little clue. That's your job. You have to piece it together. And if you want to be successful at it, you need to get a system together. And I'm going to tell you exactly the system that I use to track down homeowners. Now, the first thing I do when I find a property that looks like a prospect, I'll place a flyer right on the door, stating that I'll put my I buy houses flyer on there, right on the door, and I also take a bandit sign that says I buy houses, and I'll put it right in the front yard. If it's a real piece of junk house, I'll put it right on the house. Okay, directly on the house. Believe me, you'll get a call if you either get a call from the neighbor, or you'll get a call from the homeowner. It might be an irate call saying, "Why did you put this bandit sign on my house?" But if you can basically explain your situation, that you buy a house in that neighborhood and they're looking to sell, believe me, it'll turn to a deal. Alright, the next step after I put out the flyer and the bandit signs, I go ask the neighbors. I go knock on the doors on all sides. And I'm not talking about just the immediate neighbors now. I always go 4 houses out on each side and across the street. You should be able to get bits and pieces of information from each person. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Leave your card. And the one thing that I found that's really been helpful when I'm talking with neighbors is offering money. Money always seems to help. Basically, I'll just tell them, hey, if I buy this house and if you have any information that leads to me purchasing this house or finding the homeowners, and I end up buying this house, I'll give you, usually I'll give them, $500. And believe me, it's worth it. If you're making 20 grand on a deal, what's $500 if that's the one thing that's standing in your way of locating the homeowner? So, like I said, make sure you leave them with your information so that they can contact you later. 9 out of 10, they'll get something will happen a week down the road, and they'll say, "Oh, so and so stopped by to cut the grass," and they'll give you a call. All right. After that, I'll go online. Just go to whitepages.com. Or, you can call them 411 if you'd like, but with the internet, it's a lot easier just to go on whitepages.com. And honestly, I found half of the properties are on there right there. About 50% of the time, you'll find them right on whitepages.com. Alright, if you can't find them on whitepages.com, you could either go to your local tax assessor's office, tax appraiser's office, or the websites now with the internet. My county has it right on the web, and majority of them that I've experienced are right on the web. If you live in a county where they don't have that, well, you're gonna have to go down there. But I'd say majority of the time you can do it right online. And if you want to find out if your county is on the web, you would just go to netonline.com. Just click on your state, then you can click on your city. Or you click on your county and then your city, and it'll come up. If it's not available, it'll tell you it's not available, so you'll know right there. Okay. Okay. Now I'll check. Like I said, I go to the tax assessor's office and I check for the mailing address to see where the tax statements are addressed. So basically, you want to see where they're sending the bill to, because that's where the person actually lives. Now, sometimes you'll see it'll be the same address, and that really won't be too helpful. So I'll also run that person's name to see if they own other properties, and hopes that there's more abandoned junkers that we can cut a deal on. So after I've done that, if I can't locate them through the mailing address, if it's the same mailing address, I'll go and I'll run the name through the clerk office, and That's the courthouse records. Again, that can be done online as well. You would get that the same way. You just go to netonline.com and it'll say clerk's office, court records. Depending on the county, that's how they have it labeled. Okay, so again, you look at all the recorded docs, you look at all the court indexes for that person's name. You know, honestly, through that, you can usually get a pretty good picture of what's going on. And sometimes the addresses, or you'll find the addresses of relatives. Okay, now you gotta really, it may take a little bit of time. You'll look through, find like a piece of information. It'll take you to another piece of information. Basically, you could put these pieces together and find something. Basically, you're looking for divorce filings, new loans, liens, lawsuits. A lot of times they'll all have addresses or sometimes phone numbers on them. Also, if their salary is being garnished, the employer's name and address will be there for you, so you can contact them that way. I've also found a lot of times the homeowner's in jail, or they just got out of jail, or they had some kind of charges. That you can either find their attorney and contact them and have them contact you back, or on the arrest info will be a new address, or it'll say in jail currently. And if they're in jail, you can just call the person up and set up a visit with the inmate. Okay. Now the next step, if you still can't find the best thing to do is just send out a letter to that address, the vacant property, and put on the envelope, address service requested. Okay. I try to make sure that the address is handwritten on the envelope, and just use a regular stamp as well. I don't like using bulk rate because when you do that, it just looks like commercial paperwork, and someone will just throw it out. The more personalized it looks, the better. All right. Now, while you're doing that, sending it out, that takes a little bit of time. You have to wait for the mail and all that. I usually hire a skip tracer. Now, that costs a little bit of money. I usually use findtheseller.com. They're pretty inexpensive for what they do, and to be honest with you, they're the best that I've found at locating people that I can't find. Usually takes 24 to 48 hours to get a match on them. Again, you could also be trying the other methods while you're waiting for the results on that as well. So, another thing I try, if it's a unique last name, I'll start calling everyone in the phone book in the area. You know, you may get a relative of that person. And believe it or not, I've been pretty successful with that shotgun approach. But you know, if the name's something like Johnson or Jones or Smith, you know, don't even bother, because you're just gonna be wasting all day calling. You know, it's got to be somewhat of an obscure last name. All right, and the last couple ways you can look in the voter registry. You know, you can get updated addresses that way. Also, you could try looking through the Department of Motor Vehicles website. That also you can search there. Sometimes you can find if they had tickets, and information will lead to their address on there as well. You know, if I can't locate them, and even if, you know, let's say the skip trace comes back and there's no information back on them, and it's just a totally dead lead. You know, it does happen from time to time. It's rare, but it does happen. I'll just make sure that I place the lead in my file. You know, you just take a file, a folder for it, make a folder up for the case, put it in there, make sure, you know, don't forget about it, because I'm sure you could not imagine how many times something will come up where the neighbor will give you a call out of the blue, or the property will go into foreclosure, or falls on the bandit sign, and then you'll say, "Oh, I remember that address." At least you'll have the information that you've already worked on. You don't want to waste all that time that you've already spent. So, like I said, those are the top 10 ways of locating them. If you do them in that order, you'll save a lot of time and a lot of energy doing it. So, if you want to get more info like that, just you want to make sure you sign up for my free real estate information. I've got a free real estate investing course at youngrealestaiteinvesting.com/free course. You'll see it right on the screen. You know, go check out that link, put your email address and name in there, and you'll get updated free info every time it comes out. Look forward to working with you.